Tonight, on 59 minutes and 59 seconds, we'll be talking about climate change. What is it, and what are we doing to prevent it? As Australia is so diverse and expansive, the tourism and hospitality industry is at the forefront of the climate change debate. Tonight, we have Karen Hand, our resident news presenter, talking via correspondence to Roxy York, currently located overseas, researching climate change. Katie Nunn will provide insight into the processes Hayman Island Resort are applying to help reduce the worldwide carbon emission. Stay tuned as we discuss an extremely important topic which could change the world that we know sooner than we think.
Good evening, welcome back to 59 minutes and 59 seconds. On the agenda tonight is a topic we hear so much about, but are we doing enough? Climate change. What exactly is it, and how can you help? Through research by Emulung, it is now accepted that tourism is a significant contributor to greenhouse gas emission, particularly carbon dioxide. By correspondence tonight, I have Roxy, who has visited a few establishments to see if they are really helping and how. Roxy, hi. What is climate change, and how does it come about?
Hi Karen. Climate change is based on the warming of the world. As stated by Zerase, the Earth has a natural greenhouse effect which makes living here possible. Humans, however, have increased the carbon footprint, which has and will continue to warm up the world, and this could have dire consequences. Katie is head of the environmental program on Hayman Island Resort in Queensland. She informed me that climate change has been affecting Hayman Island in many ways. Now, I wasn't aware of how it affected tourism, but I'll let Katie tell you for herself. Katie, are you there?
Hi Roxy, yes I'm here.
Katie, now we all think that the planet is getting hotter. However, the actual facts are quite shocking. Through research conducted by the Department of Climate Change and Energy Efficiency, 2010 was our hottest year. But how is it actually affecting Hayman?
Well Roxy, because the planet is getting hotter, it is heating the water, therefore it is killing off the coral and marine life. The coral is becoming dull and lifeless and is spawning at the wrong time of year because of the water temperature. Our marine life is also slowly depleting. The water can be almost boiling the fish now, it's getting that warm. Though it's not just the marine life. Cane toads are increasingly more abundant due to the unpredictable weather. They lay eggs when it rains, and it rained more this summer than it ever has before. When tourists come to Hayman, there are lots of complaints about how hot it is and how we aren't doing enough to cool it down, especially in the restaurants. We recommend to all staff and guests to keep their air conditioning on 23 degrees to minimise carbon emissions. However, it is quite hard to monitor it, therefore we are emitting more.
That sounds like a bit of a dilemma. Roxy, you've travelled to Hayman Island twice now, once 10 years ago and once just recently. The rising temperatures are increasing the rate at which the polar ice caps are melting and affecting the water levels across the world. Have you seen changes in the water level?
Yes, Karen, I noticed it more on the main beach. There seems to be less of a walk to the water now. Do you find that too, Katie?
Yes. With the increasing tide, we are regularly changing the beach furniture around because the water levels are rising a lot more than they once were. This is also affecting the tide changes and the animals that rely on the gap in tides, which is very significant if you have ever been there.
Yeah, I have been. It's almost like a desert at low tide. It's actually quite beautiful.
No, not anymore. It remains ankle deep now, which is very disappointing because it was quite beautiful, as you said.
Katie, as head of the Environmental Committee, what is the hospitality industry and Hayman Island doing to help minimise this issue?
Well, as I previously mentioned, we encourage all air conditioners to be on 23 degrees. This is the temperature at which the air conditioners produce less carbon emissions. We have installed all new energy and water-saving machines into the staff accommodation and also the resort itself, and with the water from those we recycle it for the gardens. All of our staff use electric golf buggies for transport rather than petrol-powered carts. The food and beverage outlets are encouraged to recycle and reuse whenever they can. Our water is actually desalinated from any of the 3 plants on the island, and it means that we can filter it from the ocean. Housekeeping is also using more environmentally friendly products that won't hurt our wildlife. We encourage guests to use towels and sheets more than once to reduce the amount of water for washing, although not all guests are proactive, as I have seen one person use 6 towels for one swim. These are just a few ways that Hayman are starting to reduce their carbon footprint as specified on their website.
Sounds like you're doing a lot. Do you believe it's helping?
Yes, it's not only reducing our costs for the resort, but it's helping our surrounding environments. It's just a shame that not everyone can do it. We once had oceans teeming with life. Now we are lucky to see only 2 or 3 turtles.
And of course, it's not only Hayman Island doing things to help reduce carbon emissions. The Queensland Government has introduced the Weatherproof Your Business program, which allows members to have a foresight into catastrophic events such as cyclones and floodings. Ecomagazine.com gives us insight into crisis response plans being created for businesses to help with preparation and clean-up of devastations.
Yes, this is true, and it has had some impact on the way Hayman now handles its resort, especially after the recent cyclone devastations.
Thank you for your time, Katie. It is true that the Australian Government is implementing many programs to aid climate change, such as the $31 million Australian Climate Change Science Program. But do you think the carbon tax will reduce emissions within the hospitality industry, Roxy?
I do believe that the carbon tax will make organisations think more objectively when choosing processes which let off high carbon emissions, as they will pay a higher rate for the environmentally unfriendly practices. Many people, though, do not agree with the carbon tax. This makes it very difficult to promote, especially when climate change is becoming so prevalent.
In terms of recommendations, what could the tourism and hospitality industry do to aid the decrease of climate change?
Well, Karen, Gladden suggests that tourists travel less often and stay at the destination longer in order to minimise their air travel. He also recommends travelling closer to home and participating in carbon offsetting programs. For example, paying more to make your flight carbon neutral, meaning the airline will take steps to aid your carbon footprint with initiatives such as planting trees. Another suggestion is to travel and choose destinations and hotels which support carbon offsetting. Ultimately, the tourists must be proactive. If the tourists aren't on board, then the possibility of success dwindles. The United Nations World Tourism Organization supports these recommendations as well.
Unfortunately, that is all we have time for this evening on 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Until next time, have a great night and reduce your carbon emissions.